You are listening to the daily homily for Magdala in the Holy Land.
Jesus took Peter, John, and James and went up the mountain to pray. While he was praying, his face changed in appearance, and his clothing became dazzling white. And behold, two men were conversing with him, Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory and spoke of his exodus that he was going to accomplish in Jerusalem. Peter and his companions had been overcome by sleep, but becoming fully awake, they saw his glory and the two men standing with him. As they were about to part from him, Peter said to Jesus, "Master, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." But he did not know what he was saying. While he was still speaking, a cloud came and cast a shadow over them, and they became frightened when they entered the cloud. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, "This is my chosen son. Listen to him." After the voice had spoken, Jesus was found alone. They fell silent and did not at that time tell anyone what they had seen. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
When was the prophet Elijah canonized and declared a saint? Which pope did it? When he was taken up into God's presence at the River Jordan, and Elisha saw him going off, the story of the chariot of fire. And so he went into God's presence. And here we see him, the word that's used for Jesus, that the disciples see Jesus in his glory. That means his divinity is shining through. When do we see people in their glory? When they win the World Cup, when they win the Olympics, when they win Nobel Prize, when they win an election, when they succeed in anything they do well, even at home. When somebody cooks something very well, excellent, there's praise, there's glory. We honor this accomplishment. And the greatest glory we can have is to be in God's presence. And so Elijah is presented in the scriptures in God's presence. This is holiness. This is being a saint. This is where we're all called to come. Even some people in religious life take a name, Cielo, and they are called Sister Cielo, Sister Heaven. And this is what we all are. We all are to live in God's presence. There's another moment when they're in God's presence in a very special way, when the cloud comes and covers them. The cloud is the biblical cloud, and God is present among his people in the cloud. What does the cloud express? God is here, but we can't see him. He's hidden from our eyes. So maybe that's the way we are all the time, even if there are no clouds out there. But God is as in a cloud, and he is in our presence, and we can live in his presence. The first reading was from the book of Sirach. So here, this is a late book, and it's like a summary of exclamations in front of the person of Elijah, thinking about his words and how he brought down the rain when there was drought. And he was sent to speak words to the conscience of the powerful, of the kings. It was before the destruction of the northern kingdom by the Assyrians. And so Elijah was trying to teach them to follow God's covenant, to be true to the covenant with God. And this was very hard for people who wanted to serve the things of the earth. The other prophets also condemn the luxury of the elite classes in Galilee in the north, and when the poor were being downtrodden. And this was the prelude to the exile, when the first exile took the northern kingdom, when the Assyrians conquered it. And so Elijah is in this battle of moving a people that's given to false worship of things into the sphere of God's presence. It's a very hard job. It's like parents helping drug addicts, kids who end up in prison, kids who are in gangs, how to get them out. It's very difficult. It's very hard. And this is a great grace our world needs today. There's also a lot of wealth, a lot of affluence, a lot of degradation of the human being, decadence, and at the same time a lot of very poor and disadvantaged people. And so this is a big challenge, and Elijah is a very strong prophet, a prophet who speaks truth. And what's beautiful to see is that he is together with Moses and Jesus. And there Elijah stands for all the prophets, and Moses for the law, the Torah. So when we see many times in the New Testament, and Jesus mentions this, the law and the prophets, these are the representatives, the iconic representatives. You see Elijah, you think of all the prophets. You see Moses, you think of all the great teaching of the first 5 books of the Bible and how that continued shaping the people throughout their history. So this is a day to be thankful to God for the grace of Elijah. Elijah must have also had an experience. I was wondering what Elijah would be thinking after he took out his sword and dispatched 450 prophets of Baal as he was watching Jesus being crucified, taking all the violence on himself in reparation, in conversion of the man crucified, in conversion of the Roman centurion, in conversion of Longinus piercing his heart. What an experience it must have been for Elijah, who was so zealous for the Lord, but now he could see the fullness of God's revelation as mercy, and how mercy is so strong to win hardened hearts to goodness. So I'd like to ask Elijah, hopefully I'll be able to do that someday, what was your impression after you were so powerful with your sword against the false prophets when you watched Jesus suffering on Calvary? Sometimes we like to be like Elijah with the sword, and we need to become more like Jesus with mercy.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want to learn more about Magdala, follow us on YouTube and on Facebook.